pickleball paddles. And they have health and wellness products too, such as orthotic insoles and compression socks and different types of braces, knee, ankle. So I chose these sandals. I found them very comfortable. And they've got great arch support. All of their shoes have this wide toe box, so there's lots of room. I'm going to leave a link to Footwear below, so you can check it out if you think you might be interested. They also offer free shipping on any orders over $50. I do always recommend that people do their own research on any company. I'm very grateful for my pair of sandals from Footwear, and I want to thank them for sponsoring this video. For those of you who know my channel, you can see I'm not in my usual setting inside of Luna, my van. I actually yesterday started a 2-week house sitting situation. I'm on vacation in Sticks and Bricks right now, and I think I'm really going to enjoy the change. How do you know if van life is right for you, or even what kind of van life? Do you think you're a full-timer, or maybe you already are a full-timer? Is part-time right for you? Are you someone who likes to be out in nature, either adventuring with mountain biking or hiking or kayaking, or a nature person who just likes to sit and listen to the wind rustling the trees and the sounds of the birds? Or are you someone who likes to travel to various cities and perhaps historic sites, national parks, and see some of the wonderful places and things that you've heard about but never seen, to take part in city activities and festivals, firework displays on the 4th of July or Canada Day, which was yesterday here. Now, I'm not from a camping family. My mother was born in London, England. She was a city girl. And even just moving to North Vancouver in British Columbia in the 1950s was pretty rural enough for her. So we never went camping, and I can probably count on one hand the number of times I either slept in a tent in someone's backyard or maybe went for a weekend in a camper van when I was in my teens or 20s. So it wasn't something I was really familiar with, but I do love being in nature. I knew that I wanted to give van life a try. Well, I think, first of all, of course, the most important thing is you have to know what kind of a vehicle is going to be the right one for you. My very first one was a tiny Transit Connect XLT, and as much as I loved it, my son-in-law helped me build it out. It was cute as anything. I really, really loved it. But because of, I guess, my age and needing some joint replacements, having some arthritis, I found it was just too small. It was just too hard to maneuver in. And so I bought my Class B, my 19-foot, 1994 Royal Coach. And she is the perfect size for me. I actually started researching van life about 9 years ago. The rents in the city that I'm in were becoming so extremely high and, well, becoming out of reach. And I found that I was having to supplement my expenses every month from my savings account, and quickly realized that in less than a year, I was going to run out of savings. So I had been watching some YouTube channels like Bob Wells' Cheap RV Living and Carolyn's RV Life. And I did an awful lot of research, and I started looking for a Class C. I figured that would be the right size for me. But as a lot of you know, I ended up moving into a basement suite in a house my daughter and son-in-law had started renting. But I knew that I wanted to get a van. And so, as I said, my first one was a little Transit Connect. Now I have Luna. And the first summer I had Luna, I did a 1 month road trip around British Columbia just to get the feel for it, see if I liked it. And I liked it so much that last year I decided to celebrate the year that I turned 70 by doing my lifelong dream of my cross Canada road trip. So I got back last fall and quickly realized I was becoming a bit of a couch potato again. And I was just really missing the feeling that I had while I was living in the van for 4.5 months. I was missing the sense of freedom, the excitement of exploring new places, of meeting new people. I was feeling empowered. My confidence level grew exponentially. And I felt at least 10 years younger, if not more. That might have had something to do with the playlist of my old songs from the 1960s and 70s, I don't know. But anyway, I felt a lot younger. And I was really missing that. And for that reason and a few other reasons, I decided that it was time to gain some independence again and made the decision to move into Luna full time. I've been living in Luna for 2 months now with my little dog Charlie. And this time, van life, apart from 9 days on Vancouver Island, has been stationary, basically in the city I've lived in for over 45 years now. And I'm finding it very, very different than road tripping for 4.5 months. And this now leads me to my list of pros and cons about stationary van life. This is just my experience, my point of view. It's an interesting process because on the pro side, there were 4 pros, and on the con side, there were 7. Now, I have to say that the pros, although there were fewer pros, they were, how do I put it? They were bigger pros than the cons were cons. That doesn't make any sense. The cons were mainly, for the most part, the cons were just mild irritants, whereas the pros were impactful. I think that makes a little more sense. So let me go over the pros first. The biggest pro for me in going into full-time van life has been financial. Not having to pay rent and utilities every month, it's showing in my bank account, and that's making me really happy, really, really happy. Another pro is that I don't have a lot of housework to do. It takes no time at all to clean the van. I try and keep it really organized all the time because in a space that small, you're going to go nuts if you've got stuff everywhere. At least I would. So yeah, there's less housework to do. You spend more time outside, at least I get to spend more time outside, and I am usually in pretty places during the day. I either have a water view or I'm at a park, and so that's definitely a pro. And the last pro on the list is that you have much more opportunity to meet new people. For example, last weekend, I was sitting in my van at a park with the side doors open. I heard a woman's voice saying, "Hello, hello." And so I said, "Hi." And she said, "Oh, I didn't want to startle you." She said, I saw your van and I wanted to ask you some questions." So I went outside to chat to her. Turns out she actually did a cross-Canada trip in a car, which I really want to find out more about. And so we chatted for a bit and found out we seemed like we had some things in common. And so we're going to try and get together this coming week for coffee. It's kind of funny. You remember when you were a kid and you went to a park and there'd be other children there that you didn't know, but, you know, either you'd go up to them or they'd come up to you and say, hey, do you want to play? And off you'd go, make a new friend. And that's kind of what I'm finding living full-time van life is that, I'll meet somebody, chat for a few minutes, and then say, hey, do you want to go for a coffee, or do you want to meet next week for a coffee? And so it's kind of like being a kid again. And that's a pro. I like that. Your childlike sense of wonder, that's what you've got to hang on to. So those are the 4 pros. Saving money, less housework and chores to do, being outside more in lovely places, and meeting new people. That's for stationary van life. Now, on the con side, as I said, most of them are just mild irritants. So the first one would be, of course, I have to find somewhere to stay every night. Now, after 2 months of living this lifestyle, I have probably a week's worth of locations that I rotate around to. I try not to be seen too much in the same place all the time, but I still have to decide where I'm going to stay every night. And sometimes I'll make a decision and I'll go and the space isn't available for one reason or another, and then I'll have to carry on driving and move on to another spot. So that's a con. Along the same lines of that, in the daytime, especially now in the summer, and because I don't have AC in the van, I have to find shady spots to park in. And hopefully shady spots that have a public washroom nearby, restroom. If they don't, I have to leave my shady spot, drive to a washroom, and by the time I come back, usually that shady spot has gone. And somebody's in it, and I have to drive around and look for another one. Or where I parked might have been shady in the morning, but as the sun moves around, I lose that shade, and then I have to move on and find another spot. And I'm finding quite a bit of my day is taken up with looking for comfortable places for us to be. Those are cons for sure. Cooking. I have a 2-burner propane stovetop in the van, and so that restricts me a little bit in the kinds of things I can make. I'm really missing my air fryer. I just don't have the kind of power for that. And again, on hot days, to turn on the propane stove in the van, even just to boil water to make coffee in the morning, that van heats up pretty quickly, and so sometimes I won't even make coffee. I'm driving to McDonald's or Tim Hortons to get myself a coffee. Laundry can be a hassle for sure. Luckily for me, because I'm in a place where a lot of my family and friends live, I usually have the option of going to someone's house, and the same thing, I can, have a shower at someone's house. Although I don't like to do that too much, so I do have a pass for the local aquatic center, and I can go there to shower. But going back to laundry, even though I don't have to look for a laundromat or pay for a laundromat, I still have to have a heavy bag of laundry from my van down the street, up the elevator if I'm going to my sister's, and then pack it all up and take it back again. So again, just a mild irritation, but it is a con for me. I have a Jackery 500 to charge up my laptop, my iPad, my phone, and to run any other little appliances like USB fans. When I was traveling, I was driving so much every day that I would just plug the Jackery into my cigarette lighter and it would charge while I was driving. And I never ran out of charge on the Jackery. But now that I'm more or less stationary and I'm not doing much driving, the Jackery is running down every few days. It runs down pretty quickly. And then I have to take that to family or friends and plug it in and charge it. I do have a solar panel for it, but again, you know, because I'm in the city, it makes me kind of conspicuous, and I'm trying to keep a low profile. So that's another mild irritant, a little con. Filling my time. Staying stationary. There's a lot of hours in the day, and I did address that in a previous video about avoiding boredom. So if you want to know what my thoughts were on that, you can go and watch that video if you haven't seen it. But yeah, there's a lot of time to fill in the day. So those were 5 mild cons. The 2 major ones for me are missing that feeling that I thought I would get back, the feeling that I had when I was road tripping. It's not the same at all. This is a very, very different lifestyle, being stationary. I do want to do some more trips this summer, but, you know, gas prices, I'm reluctant to really go too far because I'm trying to save some money. So I'm kind of stuck a little bit right now on that. I'm sure if I was getting out and about and seeing different places around BC, I might be feeling some of that old feeling. But at the moment, I'm not doing that. And can be a little bit depressing some days, to be honest, to be perfectly honest. There have been a few days when I felt a bit down because I'm missing that feeling. And now for the biggest con of all is Charlie, my dog. As many of you know, Charlie had a brain injury, how long ago? 7 years ago, I guess. If you're traveling with a dog that hasn't had that kind of an injury, most dogs are just happy to be with their owners. Oh, the sun's shifting on me. Most dogs are happy just to be with their owners wherever they are. But I thought Charlie was settling in fairly nicely. But I have been visiting various friends, some people that he knew, some people that he didn't, in and out of their homes and yards that he doesn't know. And also visiting family and their homes and those he is familiar with. But there's a lot of, we're in the van and we're in a house he might not know, and then back in the van, and then maybe in a house he does know, and then back in the van again. And what I'm finding is that he's not settling in very well with that. I've actually had a few incidents with him where he was becoming quite aggressive. And I think it's because he feels maybe confused, or he doesn't feel safe, he feels threatened. And that's really, really tugging at me. I don't like that he's not becoming really comfortable with this lifestyle. So, what does that mean for us? What does that mean for van life? I don't regret my decision to try full-time van life, and I am hoping that I can continue to do it for at least a few more months, at least through until the weather turns. And even then I was hoping maybe when the weather gets cold here, head down to New Mexico or Arizona through the cold months. But a lot of that's going to depend on Charlie. And I do have a plan B. I have my name in for seniors housing, an apartment. And I've been on the wait list a year and a half. And they told me it could be a year to 2 years. So I could get a call tomorrow to say there's an apartment available. It could be 6 months from now. It could be 2 years from now. I don't know. There is a housing shortage, not just here, in so many places. But if I do get a call to say there's an apartment available, I will accept it. for Charlie's sake. That's really paramount to me, that he is, as much as I want to save some more money, I don't want him to feel frightened or confused. And to be perfectly honest with you, I'm finding that as much as I love being in the van, I do like having a home base. One of the things I've been missing is gardening. So I haven't done that for the last 2 years, and I do, even if it's just a few flower pots and things, to go out and dig in the dirt a little bit. I really do enjoy that, or grow a few veggies. So I do like to have a home base, and I do have a vision for the coming years. I think I'm not sorry that I made the decision to live in the van, because I think it's helping me really clarify exactly what I want. And I mentioned previously that at one point in time I was looking into having a tiny house built. And in my present situation, there's no way that I could afford to do that. But I also mentioned recently that I'm planning on coming out of retirement. And you can find out about that on my website, if you like, which I will leave a link to below. And so I do have a vision for the future. I think for me personally, what kind of van life is right for me is having a home base, having the van that I have, which I love, and traveling whenever I can. So what about you? Let's have a little conversation in the comments. Are you full-time? Are you part-time? Are you stationary? Are you a road tripper? Are you just thinking about it? You know, hopefully maybe some of the things I've shared will give you some things to think about, maybe things that you haven't considered up to this point. I'd love to know, you know, what is pulling you to what particular type of van lifestyle, and have you got a plan for how you're going to make that happen? And I think one thing we really have to keep in mind is that until you actually do try it, you're not going to know until you've given it your best shot. I wanted to try living in this van for at least a year to go through all 4 seasons. And that might not happen now, but it's okay. It's okay to change your plans. As I said, this has been clarifying for me. Every experience that I have leads me in a certain direction. And changing direction there's nothing wrong with that. It'll eventually lead you to what it is your heart really desires. And that's what I'm finding. For an awful lot of my life, I didn't have a lot of options. And now I do. Now it's just me. And so I'm figuring that out as I go. And I'm pushing myself out of my comfort zone quite often. And I'm happy about that, because I'm finding out who I truly am and what it is I truly want. So whatever van lifestyle you're reaching for, I hope you achieve that. I hope it's everything you want it to be. And if it's not, and you change your mind, then I'm happy for you about that too. One thing I will say is that I realize that I'm really blessed because I have a choice. I know there are many people out there who don't have a choice, that are being forced because of lack of housing or high cost of rents to either live in a van or in a car even. So I realize that I am very, very blessed that I have options. I just wanted to let you know that I do appreciate that I have the ability to change my mind about my situation. If you've liked this video, please subscribe. It means that other people that might like it will get to see it too. And I don't know whether I mentioned or not, but recently I was informed by YouTube that my channel has reached the criteria to monetize. So the more people subscribe, the more it will help my channel. And I would so appreciate it if you would do that. Give me a thumbs up, share, hit the notification bell, and thank you to all of you who have subscribed, and to everyone that leaves me lovely comments too. I'm so grateful for them. It's a lovely day here today. I hope it is where you are too, wherever you are, whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening. I hope it's been a wonderful day for you, and I'll say bye-bye for now.